Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Rick here, dropping in on you. Hope everybody has had a good week until this point in the week. It has been both challenging and uh, draining, to say the least. There's a lot going on within the scope of what I do, both in businesses and the community. I'm going to get right to the point here. I'm going to do the best I can to be as clear as I possibly can in what I'm sharing with you. And it is all coming from love. And I think that anybody who has followed me for any time knows my passion for the work I do in the community and my love that I have and the love I have for my people. Um, and it is with great sadness. It's been a rough night for me because I tossed and turned on this all night. It's been about 2 weeks of me evaluating things and looking at it. And last night, uh, I made the decision that I am suspending all programs and services and operations at the Odyssey Project. That includes Black Men Lead, all the other services, wraparound services for men and women. That includes domestic violence situations. It includes working with young Black males with Black Man Lead. It also includes the wraparound services, mental health, and so much more for the older Black men. It includes programs like Music is Life, where we teach young children how to read music and play at least one musical instrument, which is so valuable in the development of their self-confidence and self-esteem. But more importantly, just the people who show up to Odyssey on a regular basis. There's not a day that goes by that I don't get inboxed, called, or text about some problem, some situation that we take on. For years, you have heard me talking about the need to have support from the community. And while I get a lot of advice about have you tried this, have you tried that, I'm from a place where if someone comes to me, and my family knows this, and says, "Hey, this is what's up," I don't send them anywhere. Now, if I don't have it, I'm going with them to find it. But if I have it, I'm not going to send them. I may not have it all, but that's just how I am. And I have watched us pour into things that don't have intrinsic value. I have watched us pour into things. I watched us get raped for $100 million by Black Lives Matter. It wasn't just us though. They got a lot of people. But my thing is, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time whining and complaining either. But here's the thing: the initial suspension is temporary. Then there'll be a secondary suspension after the end of this weekend. We need to raise money. It's that simple. And when I tell you we need to raise money, I want to get something clear right off the top too. I've had a few people contact me and suggest that people feel that, some kind of way I'm benefiting personally from funding. Let me tell you, this year we've raised $630. $630. 500 of that, I want to be no, 450 of that, or 400 of it. I know two of my clients who accidentally got emails that were supposed to go out to people who are a part of Black Lives, well, part of this organization, threw everywhere away. They gave $200. Two of my clients gave $200 each. So the rest of that is us. And so there you go with that. So no. Dr. Blanchard has told you before, 99% of what has been done here in the 20 years that I've been doing it officially through the Odyssey Project has been me. Another big part of that, if it isn't 99%, has been him. He's been behind me, supporting me almost 10 years. You take us two out of the magic and it's nothing there. And I'm not one of the people that believe that anybody owes me anything. But what I do believe is if I'm pouring my energy, effort, time, you got to understand. If you've read my book, The Miseducation of Black Youth, if you've read my book, The Invisible Father, Reversing the Curse of a Fatherless Generation, if you've read my book, Born in Captivity, Psychopathologist, A Legacy of Slavery, if you've read my book, The Undoing of the African American Mind, if you read my book, Academic Apartheid, then you understand the level of work I've put in to understand. I don't talk from synopsises that I picked up off of memes. I've spent thousands and thousands and thousands of hours on my dime learning what I know about situations, developing programs that I know work because I've studied them. I mean, um, while Dr. Joy DeGruy is known for post-traumatic slave syndrome, she's done great work with Dr. Howard Stevenson at the University of Pennsylvania on African-American adolescent violence. And I took that and went further with it. African-American adolescent young adult male violence. I've written about it. I've talked about it. I've shown you how socializing young Black boys reduces violence, reduces incarceration because it reduces the dropout rate, increases financial responsibility, and so much more in so many different ways. This is the thing. And the reason that I haven't stepped away before, I did it temporarily in 2020, I believe. I did it temporarily. I almost died in 2020. And this year I have lost so much. And I'm just evaluating what's important to me and my stability, my ability to support and take care of my family is important. And what I know is that when people believe in you, when people see the value in what you do, when people appreciate you, they stand behind you. Nobody owes me that. But what I do is I read a message that, hey, you're good to listen to. Hey, we get this, we get this. And what I'm saying is I don't have a problem pouring me into something to do something for someone else and others. It's what I'm here for. But at a certain level, I don't owe it to anyone to destroy me in the future of my family. And I can get into so much more of that, but I'm not. So here's how it's going to be. I have suspended all programs retroactively from the 1st of this month. So anybody that was promised anything in the month of October, that's going to be shut down at least until the end of this weekend. Depending on whether or not there's any support between now and Saturday, my personal goal, I haven't talked it over with the people that I need to talk it over with. And this isn't even about being enough to do what needs to be done. This is about simply saying, okay, there's enough support to rally around to have something done. Because I'm looking far out beyond what's going on now. And also I know the history. I know the shoulders I've come in on. I've studied the Amos Wilsons, the John Howard Clarks, the Naeem Akbars, the Francis Cress Wilson, who is the person that is literally responsible for me being in psychology in the first place. I've studied all of these people and I've watched what we've done with them. I've watched how we've ate at their table and left them broke, dying broke. I watched Dr. Yosef Ben Yakin have to have a benefactor come in and cover his funeral expenses. I'm not doing that. I love my people to no end. I've gone to bat. I've lost channels going to bat for my people, and channels of revenue. I've lost it going to bat for my people. I've lost it standing my ground for my people, and I have no regrets about the love that I put into it. And I'm going to continue to do my research. I'm going to continue to write my books. I'm going to continue to do. But what I'm not going to do is be a 99% benefactor of something I'm already giving so much of my time to. When I know that it's possible for me to get some more support than $150. And the, like I said, 400 of that came from clients. These are people who pay me to do what I'm doing for everybody else for free in the community. And so it's time for me to be smart. I've had this conversation with my people over and over and over again. And the conversation I was with always been the same. You can't keep doing it. It's time to see the value in yourself. You got to see who you are, and you got to focus on what you can do. So anyone who comes, okay, let me finish the whole suspension. Right now, it's suspended through Saturday. If we don't raise $5,000 by Saturday, then I am going to suspend it until the end of the year. And then I'll sit down with people who actually know numbers and do all this stuff for me. And they're going to tell me what's necessary to at least get through the first 3 months of 2022. If we haven't reached that, then I'm going to suspend it indefinitely. And I'm going to focus on the things that I can control and the things that I can do without putting me and my family at jeopardy. This has been a very difficult decision for me because I've been doing this my entire life. I don't think people realize that. I think people look at social media and they see people and they say, well, since I didn't know them, they haven't been there. I've been doing this before social media, long before social media. And the Odyssey Project is actually something that happened almost 20 years ago. Well, a little less than 20 years, almost 20 years ago. Though. I took Odyssey Entertainment and I split it. I made part of it the Odyssey Project. I made the other part Odyssey Media Group. It was going to be how I was going to publish and do media work and how I was going to work in the community. I walked away from that other stuff completely and invested myself in doing that work. That's what I've done. I was doing it before then, but I decided this is going to be my passion. This is going to be my love. And I've given it everything I have. I have no qualms about what I've given, but I know when I've come to a point to where I need to be okay. And I've lost a lot this year. That's, not blaming anybody. I'm just saying I lost a lot. I've given so much of myself and I've lost a lot. I'm tired of losing. Not when I give as hard as I give and go hard as I give. How many people show up? I got people that they don't just show up for the things you think, man. I got people showing up because of health issues. And I'm like, you do realize I'm not a medical doctor, right? But I need you to tell me what to do. Okay. I got people showing up because their sons are literally having suicidal ideations and they don't have insurance. I have people showing up because their children or especially sons are now being designated in some way as special education and they can't get the right avocation for that. I've advocated. I've worked with school districts in Charlotte, all the way up to sitting down with the superintendent developing programs to help children who look like us that are not getting a fair shake. Wilmington, Delaware, Atlanta, Houston, Dallas, Chicago. I work with a young lady in the St. Louis, Ferguson area. We've been going hard in the paint since Mike Brown. And I can go on. And $600, that's this year. So the idea that I'm living off of that is absolutely absurd. I run a business that I'm tightening the screws on as well. My people nickel and dime me to death. That's stopping. I bring way too much to the table for that to be happening. I'm going to work with people who are ready to work, who are ready to make the sacrifices that I'm making to be with them, to work with them, to do with them. And it's going to be hard for me because here's one of the reasons why it's real hard for me. James Baldwin once said that to be Black in America and be at least somewhat conscious is to be in a constant state of rage. Let me break that down. When you see a husband or a boyfriend or an ex-boyfriend murder his girl, you see the devil. You see, oh my God, that's horrible. That's evil. Shaking my head. You go through it. I know how he got there. I see the interconnectivity and the intersectionality of that behavior with the social setup, with trauma, with our history. And I know that if we don't interrupt it, if we don't intercept it, that this is going to be consistent and it's going to get worse. Things don't stay stagnant. They either dissipate or they exacerbate. They either grow or they shrink. Now, in some instances, you want things to grow. In other instances, you don't. But I tell you, if you don't intercept it, you don't get engaged, you don't control it, you are not going to be able to be in charge or control of what happens. When you see it, you see an isolated incident. When I see it, I see the failure of us to confront it. I see its origins. I can trace it back to beyond 1619. I can see it. If you've read the book Born in Captivity, you understand. If you read the book, um, um, God, man, Undoing the African American Mind, you understand my theory on collective cognitive bias, an issue we dealing with, and we don't even realize it. You understand the influence of what we call complex trauma. It's not just, it's so far beyond PTSD, it's not real. And yet, here we are expecting it to correct itself. Here we are expecting it. And we're always looking to the other person to do it. There's no collectivism. We'll get emotional about things. And then, I'm an analytical person. I have to be, because I'm always looking at numbers and having to translate what those numbers mean. And what I can tell you is the vast majority of high spins or high views that I get is on stuff that triggers us emotionally. Not the substantial stuff, not the stuff if I actually pay attention to what this guy's saying, I could change my life stuff. No, it's the stuff that gets us emotional, that gets us charged, which they do on purpose, trigger us. And then we get lost in the emotion and we never end up doing anything. We don't realize just how calculative they are in how they are approaching what they do with us, to us, and against us. And we don't realize how much we are working against ourselves. You've heard me say this, I don't know how many times, that if there's no enemy on the inside, the enemy on the outside can do us no harm. And because we haven't dealt with the enemy on the inside, the things that cause us not to work together, the things that cause us to always push the buck and the envelope off on the next thing, instead of sitting up saying is, I'm gonna do what I can. And see, I've been doing that. And it's either the vast majority of people don't see the value in what I do. It's understandable. Or they don't appreciate it. It's understandable. No one owes me anything, but at the same time, I don't owe anyone to sit up and destroy me. My home and my family is my first priority. So I have no problem continuing the work I do, but I'm not going to do it the way that it's been done. Not when I know we're capable. And again, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Let me tell you something. When you're doing something that actually works, there's so many roadblocks, I can't tell you. Because here's the thing. If all that stuff that everybody's talking about, have you tried, actually worked, wouldn't we be in a better situation than we're in, instead of things getting worse? No, they dress stuff up and make it look good, and they'll pour millions into it. They're pouring millions in as a misdirective. It doesn't work. If it did work, all those millions will be producing results. Yet I look around and I see people that are really doing work that can't get people behind them. And because I've done the work, I understand what works. And I'm looking at them and go, hey, you got something going there. And I'll sit them and say, you need me, call me. I'm constantly doing that because I know what it's like to be out there trying to make it happen and nobody's moving with you. and you're screaming, you got the flares, you're going over here, and everybody's just moving along and still complaining in a zombie-like state. And I had to come to grips with the reality of what is and what is happening. And this is a difficult decision for me because one of my problems is, and that's why I had to bring a team in that's going to help me get everything in order, is because I tend to let my heart move ahead of my business sense. I understand how business works, but my heart seems to always get the idea of having to tell someone I know that needs my help. No, it's hard. But the time now is to sit up and say, I need people to come in and be willing to help me do some of this, shoulder some of the burden, uh, make it make sense. I mean, because right now, $600 doesn't make sense. And it's funny that the people who can help don't see the value, but the people who need help do, because they're constantly showing up at the steps. And unfortunately, those people are going to be put on waiting lists. And we will determine at a certain point in time that either we are going to deal with them as funding comes in on that waiting list. And how many of you know that when somebody's showing up with mental health issues, being on the waiting list isn't a good thing? How many people understand when people are showing up and saying, hey, I need help finding housing, that being on the waiting list isn't necessarily a good thing? People are showing up talking about what they're struggling with their trauma. They need help then. There's only so long a little boy is going to be 4 to 6 years old, which is the prime time to take them and bring them into the Black Men Lead programs to start the socialization process. The longer we wait on that, the more they're being socialized by the streets, the more they're being socialized by the very mindsets that you guys complain about: the misogyny, the disrespect, the self-indulgence, the criminality. All those things are going to happen because there's 1.5 million men missing. 1.3 of them are in prison. Out of the 2.3, well, 1.1, out of the 2.3 million, the largest in the industrial world, we have the largest prison population. Everybody else has figured out how to do it in a better way, but we're incarcerated. But a lot of that is because we've turned prison into a business. And our young boys make up a very smart part of the general population, but we make up 40% of the prison population, which is the largest percentage of the prison population. We have more Black men in prison than they have white men, and white men outnumber us, my God. And statistics show that they are more likely to be doing something they're not supposed to be doing, but we're more likely to be stopped, harassed, arrested, wrongfully convicted. Not to mention the ones that are actually doing stuff to be convicted because, again, they were improperly socialized. And that is something that a rite of passage does. That's something that Black Men League does. This is not something that you sit up and say, okay, maybe it works. Every other group effectively and specifically socializes their children. When it comes to Blacks, we don't only have to socialize our children, we have to racially socialize them. Socializing them is the basics that everybody does. You're smart, you're beautiful. This is what you do, this is what you don't do. This is how you're going to do it. This is the future. This is what you can do in the world. You're great, you're awesome, blah, blah, blah. Racial socialization. Nobody's helped with anything. Maddox 12. But thanks for asking. And so you got all of this stuff that now I'm socializing you, but like everybody else is socializing their kids. But racial socialization is the things that if you grew up doing my area, you're gonna have to be 2 to 3 times more talented, smarter, and skilled than the white counterpart that you're competing with. But you can do it. They're going to tell you that you're not as intelligent simply because of your complexion. They're going to tell you that you're not professional because of the texture of your hair. They're going to tell you you're not professional because you prefer to wear facial hair, because when you shave, it irritates your skin. All of these different things that you're going to have to tell them that you're going to be targeted more. You're going to be talked about more. They're going to consider you to be inherently violent. And so many other things that you have to prepare them against. That yes, you are beautiful. There's nothing wrong with your facial features. There's nothing wrong with your hair. There's nothing wrong with your complexion. All of these different things that other parents don't have to do, we have to do. Now, taking the fact that a lot of socialization is also modeling, we lack the bodies in a natural position doing what we're supposed to be doing to model manhood in the community. There aren't as many men in the homes as in other communities. And so what we do is we have to fill in the gap. I can't tell you the level of excitement I had when I came across this work, and I started to do more research into it, and I started to understand the dynamics beyond the basics of socialization and the difference between basic socialization and racial socialization, and how much it changed the trajectory of the life of a Black boy, and how excited I was to create Black Men Lead, and then how frustrated I've become in the years since, watching how hard it is to get people behind it. Mothers come to me, they want me to help their kid, but as a general understanding of what's possible, we'll look at it and it'll make sense to us. But we are not programmed to mobilize. And even in the times that we have, it was always because they made it look good in media, and we jumped on it because it was hot. We didn't test it. We didn't look at it. We didn't see the longevity. Think about it, how quick Black Lives Matter showed up, disrupted Ferguson, ran off with the bag, compared to some of the things that some of us have been doing for years that actually has intrinsic value and can't get anywhere close to that type of support. Look, I wasn't planning on being this long. For those of you who showed love, great. What we're going to do is we're going to do this temporary suspension through the weekend. We're going to see what support looks like, and then we're going to act accordingly. If we don't get the support necessary, and again, what I'm asking for between now and the weekend isn't covering anywhere close to all the cost of what's going on, but it's better than me sitting up doing everything and then having to deal with the emotional weight that comes with that. It's better than me having to sit up and do all of that and then turn around and take care of everything I got to take care of with my family. And again, if we don't get it taken care of, I will suspend the program through the remainder of the year. And then at the end of the year, we'll look at where we're at, and the programs may be gone. I've given it what I've had, and where I'm trying to do and where I'm trying to go. I have to be very careful in the decisions I make. I've let my heart take me down roads I probably shouldn't have gone down, to be of service to my people. I love my people. I always will. I tell everybody I'm unapologetically Black. I'm Black before I'm anything. And I carry that with pride, with love, and I will continue to drop content on this channel. I will continue to drop content on other platforms. But cost-intensive services that we've been giving without pause has to have more support. It's that simple. We will place everybody who comes on a waiting list, and we will deal with them after this weekend based off of the available funds. Those who are able to pay for support, pay for help and whatever they need will obviously will be helped. I'm sorry, but that's just simply how it's going to have to be. Again, for those of you who have been around for a long time and have shown love, thank you. For those who believe in what I do, this is a chance to mobilize whoever you can mobilize to help. Because to be honest, what I'm asking for isn't a lot in the grand scheme of things, but it seems to be astronomically high for my people. I will act accordingly. Again, thank you. I've got to get off of here. I have a lot that I need to prepare for the remainder of the day, but you guys have a great day. I'm out.